William S. Bill Castle was born on March 4, 1943 in Glen Ridge, New Jersey, to Marie and Cedric Castle. He and his younger sister Anne grew up in Verona, where he attended Verona High School and played forward on the soccer team. His father had an interest in growing quince, currants, and gooseberries, which instilled a horticultural interest in Bill, and together they built a greenhouse where Bill grew his own orchids. He attended Rutgers University, where he met his future wife, Eileen. He received a Bachelor of Science in Plant Science in 1966 as part of Rutgers' 200th commencement class, and enlisted in the Army after graduation, marrying Eileen the following year. After the Army, he was accepted to graduate school at the University of Florida, where he was mentored by one of the giants in the horticultural academics field, Hall of Fame member Dr. Al Cresdorn, and received his Master's of Science and PhD in Horticultural Sciences. Dr. Cresdorn was a major influence in Bill's life, both as a mentor and a close friend. While at the University of Florida, Bill taught an Introduction to Citrus class at UF that inspired many students to become involved in the industry, many of whom are now in positions of leadership. After graduation, a job opportunity opened up at the Citrus Research and Education Center in Lake Alfred, under the leadership of Dr. Herman Reitz. Dr. Castle went on to become a UF assistant professor in 1974 and served as assistant director of the CREC for 4 years. During the 35 years he worked for the CREC, Bill made a huge impact on the industry, and although he did field work his entire career, what set him apart was his team approach to research. He collaborated with other scientists, involved growers, extension agents, and included technicians in his work. His sweet spot theory research enabled him to create a rootstock selection guide, originally a rootstock wheel, that is now in its 3rd version and available online for the first time.
You know, the rootstock wheel was kind of out of the box because it wasn't just a paper. It wasn't just some research being presented. It was a hands-on tool that growers keep in their toolbox, also known as the front seat of their truck, so that they could have with them to make those decisions immediately. They didn't have to go to a computer or a workshop or someone else to get the information.
He was so ambitious that whenever he saw an opportunity to do some work with people in the industry, set up a trial here, even if it's an observational trial where they only had room for 100 trees. If it was an opportunity for us to learn something new that we didn't know about or we didn't have in the ground somewhere else, he would set it up and we'd be doing it. So that's how we ended up with trials all over the state. I mean, you can't hardly drive 10 miles without going past a place where there's a trial in the ground that Bill's involved with.
Sometimes people look at public servants as just doing their job, but people know that it's more than a job for Bill.
He collaborated with numerous growers, including Bill Barber, Barney Green, Buster Pratt, and Ori Lee, and created a 15-year project in Babson Park regarding high-density planting that is still relevant in research being done today. Bill was masterful at working with various groups and bringing them together.
He saw what the growers needed, and he coached us. He was like the language between the nurseryman and the grower. He created that language that we could actually talk to the growers so we could find out their needs.
When questioned about rootstocks, he is thorough in his answers as he considers scion, soil, limiting factors, past experiences, and more before providing his recommendation.
The thing about Bill is he would never tell you a yes or no. He would always sort of give you a discussion and his thoughts and everything like that so that you could begin to make better choices yourself. That's one thing he's great at. He doesn't tell people what to do. He helps them learn how to make good choices themselves.
Bill was extremely conscientious about his research and its benefit to the industry. He established an economic analysis partnership with Ron Moraro on his research data to help the grower make informed decisions based on the bottom line, working with economists to make certain that his information was not only scientifically correct, but also economically sound for the grower.
Out of the ivory tower let's get to the field, because that's really what we're most interested in. And Bill brought that forward from his professor and helped Jude and I a lot in this as well. You know, we understood it was important not just to do good research, but to meet people, to know people, to understand the problems, and to do our best to provide a helping hand through science.
He also did significant work in developing windbreaks to contain canker outbreak and new sweet oranges, with focus on early maturing selections with better juice color and flavor to improve the not-from-concentrate NFC product. Releases from his work include Early Gold, Weston, Itabori, and Vernia, and his opinion was always highly sought after.
Growers during the time when we were doing a lot of grove planting, you basically didn't want to plant a grove unless you ran your choices by Bill to see what he thought about it. And I did myself when we were establishing groves later. After I was with Extension, we were in grove management. We used to plant a lot of groves and develop them. So every one, I mean, the plan would go to Bill for approval before I would order the trees. And likewise, I would say the nursery themselves wouldn't begin the liners and the science until they checked with Bill to make sure that that was okay. So he had a tremendous amount of input.
Bill has a strong international presence as he has traveled throughout the world where citrus is grown commercially, as well as taught over 20 graduate students who are now industry experts in their own right. His extensive network with citrus horticulturists in other countries has allowed him to bring in plant material for testing or breeding purposes that would not otherwise have been known, much less available.
Everyone knows Bill Castle. Everyone feels, you know, that he's the global authority on rootstocks, and in fact, he is.
It's an exchange, a two-way exchange of material, and Bill's personality facilitates that sort of arrangement. So it's been very nice for Florida because we have access to such a broad range of rootstock germplasm, and some of it does quite well under our environment here.
Bill is the rare combination of a people person and a methodical, precise research scientist.
With Bill, it's not just about the statistics and the numbers, it's about the people. And I think that he has always included the personal side of the relationship as well as just being an academic. He's also your friend, and he's there to help you. And I think other growers would also say that they have a close personal relationship with Bill as well as a professional one.
He's open to new ideas, as evidenced by his leadership in introducing and helping to develop the DISC Precision Ag program and one of its outcomes, Advanced Citrus Production Systems. He has always involved economists, growers, packers, processors, extension agents, and research scientists in his work, with the result that the information has always been relevant and useful in real-world situations.
He wasn't afraid to go out on a limb with a field test, and he wasn't afraid to fail, which is extremely important because you're not going to find your limits unless you're willing to go beyond them.
Between 2004 and 2011, he published 30 works pertaining to citrus. His research data was based on the longest citrus industry field trials on record, and the nature of the entire Florida citrus industry has been shaped by it and the collaborators he so effectively recruited to participate in his laboratory and field experiments. Upon his retirement in 2009, he became involved in helping to develop a fledgling pomegranate industry for Florida as a means to help give growers alternatives that could add to their bottom line and weren't as susceptible to disease and pests as citrus. He helped organize the Florida Pomegranate Association, and in just the first half of 2015, their website received over 400,000 hits. Despite retirement, Dr. Castle is also still an active part of the Citrus Research and Education Center Plant Improvement Team, alongside Dr. Fred Gemitter, Dr. Jude Grosser, and Dr. Paul Ling.
We have right now, under Bill's direction, a new rootstock trial, a big rootstock trial with probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 12,000 trees on X number of different rootstocks with 2 different scion varieties, and Jude and I have contributed our plant material to this, but Bill's been the point man, the organizer, and you know, it's a really exciting rootstock trial, and Bill's the lead.
Dr. Bill Castle is internationally recognized as the leading authority on rootstocks, and the entire Florida citrus industry has been shaped by his work.
If you call him and get his voicemail, you will always hear some message at the end about drinking Florida orange juice or grapefruit juice, or some aspect of the industry that just goes above and beyond, and that's just Bill Castle.
There's not a meeting that goes by that it's not, well, what does Dr. Castle think? Or he can go back to that knowledge of what was done in the past, but with an eye to how things are going to work in the future and what that next incremental improvement is, and that's just such a resource.
I don't think there's a grower you work with that doesn't become a friend.
One of the things that I feel Bill really should be recognized for is his high moral character.
Anytime you can have a conversation with Bill Castle, you always learn something, you laugh for sure, and you just feel like your day has been better. He wants to be a part of the solution. I love being around people who want to be a part of the solution.
There's Bill's tracks all over the industry as we speak today.
Therefore, we are honored to induct Dr. William S. Bill Castle into the Florida Citrus Hall of Fame.